really do much about it after that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Midsummer Terror Train continues. I like saying the name Midsummer Terror Train.
Have you already explained that you were in like a feverish haze when you came up with that?
Like I had just had a ton of blood drawn when I came up with that name.
I should post that text message exchange we had. What are we calling this? What about this? By the way, I have no blood in my body left.
That's how you come up with things, everyone. That is the Joystiq creative process to a T. And yeah, here we're playing Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, the first part of a trilogy that never happened.
Is that right?
Yeah, this was supposed to be the first game series of 3 games, which was a Silicon Knights staple. You get the first chapter of a trilogy.
I was gonna say, what was X-Men also supposed to be a trilogy?
Maybe Too Human is the sequel to Eternal Darkness. Like, you really need to look for it, like the narrative, and then X-Men somehow is a sequel to Too Human, and that is the trilogy.
That's the
well,
trilogy.
I mean, mutants are Too Human, right? I mean,
wow. I think you just cracked the code. Someone called Dyack.
Make it happen. Those voices you hear are Zav D'Amatos is behind the wheel today, playing Eternal Darkness, and he's never played it before.
To be
Zav,
fair,
why did you miss this back in 2002? What happened?
I think I was too busy playing or waiting for Metroid Prime at the time, and really just reading about Metroid Prime and wishing about Metroid Prime. I don't know. I mean, this was a game that sort of eluded me. I mean, I kind of skipped this over and went to the Resident Evil remake right away. I got my GameCube pretty late, too, so that might have been an issue. And I remember working at a store and never seeing a copy of this game. Like, as soon as we got a copy, people would just buy it right away.
Yeah. It was one of those things that was really hard to find when it was brand new, and then it was on every used shelf forever from like 2005 to 2008, and then it just disappeared. We also have Richard Mitchell, who is an Eternal Darkness fan.
I'm a huge fan of this game. Love it, love it, love it.
Why? Why don't you marry it?
What's it, dude? Okay, so I don't know whether or not I got this right after it came out or not, but I kind of have a history of getting some of the seminal horror games, and I play them, and my wife watches me play them. Of course, she wasn't my wife at the time, but
so your ex-girlfriend, your current wife,
my ex-girlfriend, current wife.
I'm gonna go ahead and start this since there's a cutscene, so we can sort of talk over it too.
Yeah,
but horror games tend to have. It's not quite as true anymore, but for the longest time, they were the games that actually kind of focused on writing, like had good stories to them.
True.
Outside of like RPGs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Eternal Darkness has a really great story. Plus, on top of it, it has this sanity mechanic, which you guys are going to see pretty soon, where they kind of mess with the player sometimes. They do a couple of kind of meta jokes that sort of poke at the fourth wall, and just the writing is good, the voice acting is good. And this is one of those games that is so frustrating now for people who are watching Silicon Knights just desperately try to do anything.
Right.
Well, they don't exist anymore. They're gone.
Right. And that's what was so frustrating is like they kept trying to make games and they didn't quite turn out the way they wanted them to. Then there was that awful, disastrous, ill-advised lawsuit. And then
against Epic Games.
Yeah, and also of course the failed crowdfunding elements, crowdfunding on a spiritual successor to Eternal Darkness. And the reason all that stuff is so frustrating to me is because I loved this game so much, and I think other people do too, and that makes it even more frustrating. And it's just such a good horror game.
Mm-hmm.
Richard, what's the name of the failed attempt at crowdfunding?
It was Shadow of the Eternals.
Shadow of the Eternal.
That's right.
Really long darkness.
Right. And there was the issue that I think Nintendo technically holds the rights to Eternal Darkness.
Yes.
So unless they were to do a project with Nintendo, it wasn't going to happen.
So the game in the very beginning, the most that I've played of this is this very beginning part, which might be super dark for people.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is super dark.
But it'll get better. This part is just intentionally really, really dark. I will pot up the brightness too. You can't change any of this stuff in the middle of a cutscene, unfortunately.
I mean, it is darkness. It's eternal darkness. We can't do anything about that. This game, you got to take this game at its word, guys.
So I actually played Shadow of the Eternals.
Really?
Yeah, E3 2 years ago, I think, when when Precursor Games, which is another company that I'm not even too sure still exists anymore, they were showing it off at E3 after their crowdfunding failed the first time. They were like, well, we didn't do a good job of explaining what the game's going to be. People want to actually know and see it, so we'll show people, and I actually got to play it. And, it looked really great. I think it was, what was it? It may have been Unreal. I was going to say, it might be the Unreal Engine, but no, I can assure you it was not the Unreal Engine. I think it was the Crytek engine, actually. It looked really great. It was sort of had the same vibe of this. The demo was literally like 10 minutes long, so I really couldn't tell you too much about it. But, I know, having interviewed Dennis Dyack and gone to Silicon Knights' office way back when I first started Joystiq, and they have this really big fascination with like mysticism and lore and like honor, all of these sort of like ancient concepts. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's in this game. I'm sure the lore of this game, it's very intricate and very detailed, and it kind of pulls back into time. Like, I don't know, I haven't played the game, but I know a lot about it because it's sort of seeped into our popular culture because it's such a cult hit. But yeah, no, Shadow of the Eternals, I was disappointed they didn't at least finish an episode to show people what they were trying to do. I feel like, and I mean, when I interviewed Dennis Dyack, I asked him, I was like, do you think that the fact that your name is attached to this is putting people off? Because, not that I think he's a bad person. I think he's a nice guy, and he's wonderful. I've interviewed him a bunch of times. It's just that there sort of comes this, like, history with him, especially online, with getting into arguments with, the internet on NeoGAF and things like that. So, they didn't seem to think it was an issue, but unfortunately the game didn't get funded. So
these are some super weird looking character models. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, this is I don't know that playing this game for the first time on a stream is the best idea when I'm not paying attention to what's happening. Although I did see this cutscene already, so I do know that her grandfather passes away.
Yes.
And then the police. So the thing that I love about it is, like, and this is just a really nitpicky story thing. Her grandfather passes away. They call his granddaughter and say, like, okay, your grandfather's dead. And she's like, okay, I'll be on a plane. Implying that she's at least hours away, and it could take at least a day to get to this crime scene. And then you walk in and all the police are still there and the body's on the ground. Like, you guys waited here for a day?
Yeah. You have to remember this. This is before all those crazy security measures were put in place at airports. So,
so she just rushed.
Basically, you could just go into an airport and get on any plane you choose.
Okay.
Just hang out.
Yeah.
I felt like I was nitpicking, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you for at least clarifying that for me. So I'm gonna turn the brightness up a little bit because this game is super dark.
The brightness and the sound, because I don't think the sound is coming through at all.
Okay. Let's hope that that's not actually going to be an ongoing issue. If so, well, we got subtitles, so there's not a lot of sound going on in this game anyway. So this is as far as I've played up into this game. So we are in for a treat. It already looks like Resident Evil, so I'm going to first go up here, I guess.
I'm sitting here just trying to think about what horror theme remains unexploited in the world of video games. Like, we can always count on, like, Cthulhu and Lovecraftian stuff infiltrating. Like, you get Lovecraft in here, you get typical, like, demons returning to the earth, you get heaven versus hell. Like, I'm trying to think what's not covered, what don't you run into? And are there a lot of slasher games? Has there ever been a game where you're being hunted by, like, a Freddy or a Jason Voorhees? Have they done that?
Well, there's the Jason game where you have to save all the children and then try to kill Jason.
Right. There's the Friday the 13th game.
Isn't
on
that sort of what
NES.
like Clock Tower is kind of like that or something?
Clock Tower's a little like that.
I've
Yeah.
never played it, but it's like I know there's like an antagonist that you're running away from.
Yeah, you're being hunted, but that's still like supernatural. Like it's
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah.
There was well, like Condemned Criminal Origin kind of started that way.
Yeah, Condemned starts that way. And Alexander here in the chat has pointed out Outlast. Outlast starts that way.
Yes.
But Outlast very quickly becomes like zombies.
Yeah. And what I really do enjoy about this game is someone did mention the Lovecraft element, and what's interesting about this game is you sort of dive into some early 20th century ideas about horror, which they're also picking up on a little bit in the show Penny Dreadful, if you've seen that at all.
Creeping madness.
Creeping madness, like exploring foreign continents. I think in this one, I think it's India in this game that you go to a little later.
You go to Iraq.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, or like Persia, like that kind of area, and like it's going into a horror idea that used to exist when people used to go explore like the Dark Continent or what have you,
Right.
like this unexplored, mysterious area. And the other thing I think this game does really well is it gives you a sense of implied horror a lot of times without really explicitly showing you exactly what's happening. Like
Yeah.
there's a column in this game. There's a giant stone column. I'm not going to spoil it, but when you realize the truth behind it, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
Like it's really disturbing.
And like it's cool too because Eternal Darkness manages to do all those things, and the combat is actually really cool. Which is not like I find if a horror game has really good combat, it's usually sacrificing some of the scariness. Like it's hard to make fights interesting and leave you empowered and still like maintain a sense of tension that's like lurking dread rather than just
Right.
suspense.
Right.
And yeah, Zav, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to get to a point when the combat really starts getting cool.
Oh, really?
Like, when you have, because you have to wait until really late in the game to have, like, the full range of, like, spells and things
Right.
you can do.
Yeah, and the whole spell system, like combining runes together and discovering new spells, was very, very cool for
Very
the
cool.
time.
Oh,
And
no. Zav's found the book.
the book. And other things too, like something you don't see quite as much these days, but like you have to beat this game. Is it 4 times to see the best ending, or is it 3?
Yeah, it's 3, I think.
Okay. But the thing is, you get into these concepts of like again Lovecraftian, like old gods kind of thing, and you sort of pit them against each other, but you gotta beat the game 3 times to see like the real ending. And also just the meta humor in this is still really good. Like the way that they scare you about like the game itself.
Yeah.
Like tricks you into thinking there's something wrong with your game. And it's like a different kind of being scared because you're like, oh God, I've been playing this for 4 hours. I just lose everything.
It will also change you.
Do we think that the protagonist here, what's her name?
As I have.
Royvis? Something Royvis?
It's their surname. I'm not entirely sure what her name was. I think I missed that.
Is she being? Is she like explicitly Buffy Summers? Like, is that what's happening?
I didn't really
that-
pick up on that.
No, I don't think so.
But that character
Oh,
model does look
Alexandra.
suspiciously familiar.
Learn
Alexandra Royvis.
and bow.
Oh man, they really they throw you right into this stuff right away, huh?
Oh yeah,
Because I had heard that this game has a lot of like you go into the past,
Right.
and I've been playing for like 10 minutes and already it's happening. Yeah, this game is surprisingly it looks pretty solid. I mean, it's obviously these character models are from 2002, but I mean, it still has a really creepy atmosphere.
Right. It's got really good voice acting and other Lovecraftian thing that these are like frame stories where you've got someone who's like discovered somebody else's documents about something that happened.
Yeah.
That was scary, and the person reading it is getting scared by reading the scary stuff, which you are also playing. It's kind of
I love that trope, especially like in early 20th century horror fiction, when like a story starts and it's like, I dare not utter what I have learned here on the page, but I have no choice.
All right, I'll tell you.
Yeah, as Yodel points out, it's amazing that this started as a Nintendo 64 game. No, I don't think any Silicon Knights game came out on the platform that it was started on.
Maybe X-Men Destiny, and then they just shut the whole operation down.
Yeah, Two Humans started as a PS1 game. That's right.
Yeah.
That looked completely different.
Totally different. It looked
like cartoony.
It was like the Matrix.
Yeah. And I swear I remember some of the screenshots of the N64 version, specifically of this like Centurion guy, if I recall correctly. It looked like almost like an Egyptian setting.
Yeah, now I have to look that up. Eternal Darkness N64.
Menome7 says, or Menemone perhaps, Minimi. X-Men Destiny was originally an NES game.
Yeah. X-Men Destiny. What was the vintage console where it was just you had to put like a little like piece of paper on your TV screen, and then it would just change the dots?
Oh god.
There was, I do remember an NES X-Men game that was sort of like a Gauntlet clone.
Yeah.
And all I remember is that you could be Nightcrawler and just like teleport through walls, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, made by LJN. Who loved to torture people.
They did love to torture people. What was that? There was an isometric sort of crappy Diablo-esque game that came out by them. I can't remember what it was called. It was like, I think it was like not Children of the Atom, but it was like one of the first X-Men games that ever came out that we actually considered maybe playing at one point when we were doing when we were talking about
the X-Men Day.
I don't remember if anyone remembers. That
was it like one of the they were sort of like Baldur's Gate kind of games? There was a Marvel one too.
Oh yeah.
No, well, there was
Origins?
those Legends. Those were really good. Those made way for the Marvel games that came out years later. Which I really
one of
liked.
those was a pack-in for the Xbox, I think, the Xbox 360.
Oh really?
Yeah, you got like that and whatever version of Forza was.
Yeah, it was like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, I think.
Yeah, that's
came out.
Zev, Elias Bakos has a question that I'm curious about as well. How do the controls feel? Like, does it feel like super dated that you're fighting against them, or does it feel good?
I mean, they're pretty good. It's not quite the tank controls of Resident Evil. I feel like I have a little bit more control over them, although I'm just spinning the Centurion in circles right now. I feel like with his helmet, he's just gonna fly into the air. So I think that's pretty cool. I mean, the combat seems alright. I noticed right away that it highlights an enemy, a part of the enemy, and you can select where you actually want to attack them, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, and that becomes important later on in the game, like deciding which limbs you're going to hack off. The thing is, like, because it can't like reach out and grab you if you hack its arms off, and etc. etc. But one of the fun things about this game, and again, sort of Lovecraftian horror, is the sanity system, in that eventually, as you start fighting these monsters, even just letting them look at you, the fact that if you're looking at them, like in the eyes, like it just drains your sanity because it's just terrifying just to see them.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
You gotta dispatch them quickly. I don't remember how you get your sanity back either. I don't know if it's just
you do things successfully and quickly. So yeah, when it switches back to Alex back in the present,
Oh god.
She really starts getting affected by things, and you just have to do things right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. We'll be right back. Except for all you people using Twitch Turbo. You're still here watching.
Oh my god, there's like 7,000 zombies in here.
You gotta deal with them, Zach.
Oh god.
You gotta deal with all of them.
You're a centurion. Snap to it, soldier.
I didn't ask for this. This is my Centurion cosplaying as Adam Jensen.
Plus, those are Visigoth zombies. They really, really hate you.
There's some history knowledge for all of you kids.
Yeah, for all you kids out there.
All you kids in the stream. Joystiq entertains and you get to learn.
I always like the way that the enemies fade away.
Yeah.
Can I just say, like,
Oh, no.
it's weird that I'm in this, like, tomb that's never been discovered, but, like, these granite blocks are just laying on the ground.
Just hanging out.
They're not on a table or anything. Like, someone just surreptitiously just threw them on the ground. Like, whatever. We don't need this.
It was a super avant-garde interior designers.
Really, the
So-
shotgun blast of interior design. Oh, God.
LX Duke XL says that he's not on Twitch Turbo and he never gets ads.
That doesn't-
So we're gonna have to ferret him out. He's gonna have to watch at least
Ban him. Just ban
20
him.
ads.
Yeah, El Duke, we're just gonna get you a super cut of old commercials from like the mid-90s.
Also, it's
on
funny to
YouTube.
watch some of these streams back on the YouTube archive, and it's like, we'll be right back for ads, and nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens except me telling all the Turbo users that they're the best. And I love them more than everyone else.
More than Turbo people are paying attention right now. Oh man, look at this. This fog is reminiscent of Silent Hill. Oh god, there's like 6 of these guys in here now. I'm just gonna run.
So I'm having
run
having
circles.
trouble remembering how many. So you've got to be the modern soldier who's. You can be the dude who you can be like colonial America guy.
Uh-huh.
And are there only the 3? And the Centurion?
Yeah, well, there is one more, but I don't want to spoil it.
Oh right, yeah, no.
Although it does have one of the better mechanics in the game, and I will spoil that, which is that you have one of your items is liquid courage,
That's right.
and
Yes.
it's just like a flask of something, and whenever your sanity gets down too low, you just drink it, and
you can have a wee nip,
and it fixes you right up.
Just like real life.
just like.
Exactly like real life.
I'm gonna drink until I can't feel feelings, guys.
Freaking Mike Suzak just put a Mentos commercial in the chat.
Brilliant. Oh my.
Mike Suzak is Joystiq's fresh maker, everybody.
He is.
Wow, no ads on the Xbox One. I forgot people can watch this stuff on like their Xboxes and
Oh,
things.
that's right.
Oh,
yeah. Modern
right.
technology.
Can you? Here's a question, Wraith Dub. Since you mentioned that, do you have to pay for gold?
The question is,
How
because his name is Doug. It was hilarious when I thought of it, guys. Why isn't it letting me put these blocks in these things? I have all these blocks. I collected your color blocks, Silicon Knights. What more do you want from me?
Now you have to go and
I have to go into my
create
inventory?
2 Human 2.
Oh god.
You've got the blocks.
Wait, if I don't put the blocks in this machine, 2 Human doesn't exist?
That's right.
This is like... No one man should have so much power, guys. I don't know if this is... Alright. Sorry. I interrupted by screaming out loud because of... I realized that you have to go into your inventory and actually select this now. When was the last time you guys played this game?
I have not played Eternal Darkness since 2004. This was one of the games that I spent that summer playing. It was this and Panzer Dragoon Saga were my summer of 2000.
Nice.
Is this
Yeah.
game like especially long?
It is substantially sized. Well, I mean,
I want to say it's like 8-ish hours. It's like a usual survival horror game.
like
I think.
it took me. I remember like it took me like between 12 and 15 because your sort of classic survival horror game of the era, your Silent Hill, your Resident Evil, your Fatal Frame, 6 hours was pretty much the gold standard. And I remember this being substantially like it was at least double that.
So according to howlongtobeat.com, which is a wonderful resource, by the way,
It is
it's about 12 and a half hours.
12 and a half. There you go.
See, Richard
30
Richard beat it in 8 because Richard is very good at video games.
That's the fastest speed run according to this website. Yeah, and if you want to get everything, like I said, though, you're gonna have to beat it like 3 times. So you're looking at like around 30 hours.
I like how it's just now teaching me something that I've figured out for the last 20 minutes, which is like, you can select specific body parts to attack. Like, yeah, I've been doing that. Thanks, Dennis. I'm just gonna assume it's Dennis.
It's all Dennis.
He's the one who he wrote all of the tutorials.
Zav, do you remember? This will be a fun shout out for anyone who used to listen to the old Xbox podcast we had here. But we had this theory that Dennis Dyack was actually Sam from Quantum Leap, and he's just ever since he started working on 2 Human, is just desperately trying to get Dennis Dyack's life right so that he can finally leave home.
You gotta link. Oh man, we have to go back to the archives and find that podcast.
Oh yeah, I'll go find it. It's in the Facebook group somewhere.
That is so good. That was a real good show. I remember when I interviewed Dennis Dyack the week after 2 Human came out. It was like my first big thing I ever did with Joystiq. We had like a camera crew and we brought all those guys out. And I think all of those videos are gone now because they were on our old video provider.
They may be.
So I think they're all gone, which is really sad because, man, I spent a lot of time doing that. But, yeah, I was really candid about all the problems that game had, and they still really enjoyed it. The thing that I love about that interview is I do remember him talking about, like, man, I asked him, like, what was your favorite class to play? And he said, it's not even in the game yet. It's going to be DLC. And DLC never came out for that game. So Dennis Dyack's favorite part of 2 Human never came out. Or at least his favorite class never came out because the DLC, I guess, never shipped.
It was released on the Universal Console. the one console.
The one console future. And the Nintendo Cube box.
Okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I don't know, like the trying to share a Facebook photo thing, which is such a pain.
What is this?
Here you go, guys.
Effigy resembling a warped angel. Dark green emerald. Should I claim this artifact? No. What's the red one?
Claim it.
What's the red one? The red one looks like a heart. Red clawed worm. Alright, I'm way off. I don't know what a heart looks like, apparently. And this one looks like a Metroid. So clearly it's the best one.
Yeah, I think
shaped
that goes
like a
without saying.
delicate dome, a pale blue statuette floats gracefully. Is there a difference between which one I pick?
I don't know.
I picked the green one. It's just like game over. The floor opens up beneath my character. I'm gonna pick the Metroid one, the blue one. Watch, this is like the worst mistake that anyone can make, and it's already been. Yeah, I took the Metroid. All right.
That really does look like a Metroid.
It does look like a Metroid. He's gonna touch the
Metroid
Metroid.
Prime 4.
Don't touch the Metroid! Oh god, this is always what happens when you touch a Metroid. Oh. How dare! Oh, he's turning into a space pirate. This is the origin of Ridley.
The space
Right
pirates.
If you touch this ancient artifact, you will turn into a giant robot dragon space pirate.
It took me a very long time to comprehend that Ridley was a space pirate, because it was like it's a big monster. What do you mean?
He's a dinosaur. He's a
Doesn't make
space
sense.
dinosaur.
Right. And, like, not only that, but, like, Kraid is apparently not a space pirate. He just lives there.
All at once.
Like,
Really?
Yeah, Kraid isn't one of the space pirates. They make Ridley. Like, Ridley is engineered.
But Craig becomes he's definitely a space pirate in one of the games.
No, he just sort of lives there.
I swear,
you
in
never
like,
see him not on that
Prime
planet.
or
He keeps
something?
trying to take the test to become a space pirate, but keeps
Yeah.
failing. It's
He just
really,
keeps failing.
it's really embarrassing. Actually,
Hey,
he
guys,
doesn't like
Kraid-
talking about it.
Kraid's back. Get Kraid out of here.
Space Pirate Academy.
I just realized
Down to
that
some
there's no.
wacky hijinks.
I just realized that there's like no saving happening. So maybe I should save it in case I die horribly and it's gonna make me redo everything, because that would not be fun. Oh, this takes place in the year 2000. Oh, look, Richard, I'm finding chapter pages. It's like Alan Wake up in here.
Yeah.
Alan Wake just is this reskin.
Yeah, well, you realize that if Silicon Knights had been successful in its Unreal lawsuit, it would have gone on to sue Remedy
Yeah, right.
for stealing its ideas.
And then Marvel Comics for making
Where's
Thor.
my inventory? What is it? I just picked up a thing. What is this thing I just picked up?
Binding
It's
of
it's the binding of the corpse death.
So I haven't seen. Oh, I guess this is the next thing. I haven't seen any sanity effects. I haven't actually seen like a sanity meter or anything yet. So I don't even know.
You're keeping it together.
Am I just so good at this game? First run
I
through.
like in the menu how when you go to different sections of it, the little eyeballs and the different skulls
Yeah.
link open.
By a very human need to weave a web of meaning.
It's very intricate and detailed. We're gonna go play Binding of Isaac now.
That's the sanity effect. If it goes down enough, you
It
just
somehow predicted a game from the year 2013. You're like, oh my god, how did you do it, Dennis? Let's just call Dennis Dyack, guys. Anyone have his number?
Probably not doing anything, right?
Yeah, hi, is this Dennis Dyack? Have you made the leap home? You haven't made the leap home.
We should say though, we talked a little bit about this the pre-show. Dennis Dyack has like seriously gotten into crazy shape, like lately,
Yeah,
and
he's
he
a healthy
looks
man.
he looks like really happy and healthy, and like good for him, because I know a lot of this stuff I'm sure is not fun when the internet really dislikes everything you say.
You know, speaking of Too Human,
At least they did.
back in the days, Av. I mean, when you were still living up north, I mean, you went to their studio and like stayed there for a couple days and interviewed people, put together video content, and this was when at the time Too Human was still like this was going to be a big game for Xbox 360. It was one of the most anticipated games to come out, and we put together like a week of content about it, and like people were nasty in some of the
Really?
comments. I remember, yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
This was like people like saying we're getting paid to do it and all this other stuff, and it's like, no, this is just a huge game that we'd like to tell you about.
Yeah, and
Not
it was
like
a
that,
big
but, like-
story happening at the time because
Yeah,
there were a lot of he was getting into some online battles with NeoGaf. I remember that was a big thing that was happening, and he was talking about how the game was going to be great. And I know that there was some E3 previews that were not too favorable because the game wasn't running very well, and he sort of blasted the industry because they prejudged his game when really the game shouldn't have been shown off in the state that it was in. So, I've interviewed him a bunch of times and I've talked to him a bunch. Honestly, he's a super nice guy. He's made some really great games. Him and his team, Silicon Knights. I think it's kind of we're sort of poking fun at sort of the mentality I think people have about him, but I think he's a really cool guy. I mean, the problem though is that he sort of got into a fight on the internet, and you just shouldn't do that. So I mean, what else is there really to say? I mean, he's not making any games anymore. I think Precursor shut down since they didn't get funded for the Eternal Darkness reboot like we were talking about before. But it is what it is, I guess. I just, it's disappointing that the thing that disappoints me about that whole scenario is that it sort of took down the company. and you know, he was sort of the architect of a lot of like the arguments that were happening against Epic and like the problems they had with Epic, and you know, he was in charge of the company at that time. So when that happens, and you know, you end up getting into a huge legal battle, it's going to affect your company, and eventually the company shut down. And there were some people there who, you know, lost their job. A lot of people lost their jobs there. So
For some reason or another, is me like poo? I believe is the
I
name.
smell like poo.
I smell like poo.
He's trying to get you to say that you smell like poo, Richard.
I get it.
That's an article for Fartstick magazine.
Fartstick.com. It's coming. It says, I think Richard is one of the Mortal Kombat X guest characters.
That's right.
I could do that. I'd be happy to do that.
I've been enjoying putting on a Joystiq's Twitter account over the past couple of days my guesses for who the guest character is going to be.
Really? I haven't noticed that.
I put Olaf from Frozen
Okay.
into a fight with Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Safe
and-
picks. Safe picks, all of them.
Yeah, my fantasy today is that CeeLo Green will be the guest character in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, he's gonna be at such a disadvantage with his tiny little arms.
Oh, so the sanity effect thing just kicked in, by the way. Oh god, and I just got hit.
And as Susan Arndt has pointed out, the guest character is Mappy. God, where is Mappy?
Jimmy Stewart. Get over here!
Why would Jimmy Stewart use other characters?
Well, no, we can resolve this peaceably. You know, not to be fighting all the time.
No, because he's like Shang Tsung. Jimmy Stewart can turn into all of the characters.
With his acting talent, of course.
Oh, so you regained your sanity by finishing off enemies. That's how it works.
Okay, there you go.
So,
Paula Dean.
Paula Dean is the guest character.
That's from Susan. She said she just throws butter.
Susan, that's impossible. Reptile is already in the game.
oh, that was pretty good.
I'm feeling okay about that.
That was pretty good, Ant. Oh god, yeah. So it's weird. Like whenever the enemies show up, I start glowing green, and it's telling me that I'm losing sanity, which is just like real life. When I start to slowly go insane, I just start to go green.
Yeah, I like that there are Hulk rules.
It's a Hulk-based game. It's a Hulk-based universe. No, what are you doing? Stab him! I keep looking at some thing that I'm examining on the ground. That's like the games that have the same button that do multiple things, and then whenever you like they intersect by accident. Like I'm examining the floor when I meant to kill an enemy here, which is not fun. What is this?
Yeah.
What is this? I'm stabbing the walls now. Out of
Take that,
frustration.
walls.
So I don't know if you guys mentioned this character. I don't know
Yeah, I had forgotten about Elliot.
how she plays into it, but so is there 5 playable characters throughout the campaign of this game?
I guess there are 4.
Something. I think that's about right. Because it's the Centurion at the beginning. There's her. There's. Oh wait, There's a monk, also.
I didn't. There's only been 3 so far in this playthrough, at least.
There's quite a few because there's a monk in like a church. There's like a soldier. There's quite a few, all in different time periods. But as you play all of these different time periods, you see how they weave together and how they are connected, which is really fun. And you'll revisit some of the same places in different times too.
What is this a trap? Oh, it's totally a trap.
Oh, something mimic 12 characters in Eternal Darkness. God, I need to replay this. That's fine.
There are 12 characters in this game? Gosh.
There's a
video
part.
game. I outsmarted the video game.
Susan says the monk includes the single best moment of the game, and it's been so long I don't remember what it is.
Yeah.
Don't tell me.
The camera is really, really great in this game. Without resorting to like pre-rendered backgrounds, they do some really good dramatic presentation.
Mhm.
Which was still, I mean, it's tricky even now to get that right, but man, back in 2002, that was not easy.
Well, and let's not forget that the GameCube does not have. Well, it does have a right stick, but it
Right.
was never really used for that.
It
It's
was
not
not.
like it was rarely used in that way.
Even when it wasn't great at it because it was so clicky that the C stick, as it was called.
Okay, Susan just privately messaged me what happens to the monk, and I remember now.
This is super awesome.
Stop
pretty
it!
awesome.
You guys are the worst. This is the first
Yeah,
time
and
I've
as-
ever
as
experienced this.
As Max7791 says, the camera actually starts to go crazy as you lose
Crap.
sanity too.
Yeah. The sanity effects in this game are very interesting, and I remember hearing this. I don't know how true it is. Someone saying that Nintendo also owned the concept of the sanity meter,
Really?
Oh,
They
yeah.
copyrighted the concept?
like trademarked it or something, and which was like another reason that Silicon Knights couldn't do another game without Nintendo approval.
Ladies and gentlemen, while you ponder who owns the sanity meter, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back. I'm wondering if Nintendo kept the sanity meter so that they could use it in like Luigi's Mansion.
Well, you know, at this point, Nintendo kind of has a track record of getting like horror franchises
It's true.
that were pretty good and then just being like, nope, we're done with these. Don't get these anymore. Not good ones anyway. We'll give you a crappy 3DS spinoff if you want.
Oh, God.
And I'm speaking of not just Eternal Darkness, which there was never a sequel for, but the Fatal Frame series, which I
Right.
believe is now co-owned by Nintendo.
It is. Yeah.
And
Tecmo Koei.
yeah, and Tecmo. And because famously Fatal Frame 4, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, I'm holding a copy in my hands. I bought it in Japan because I'm awesome. Yeah, I was so excited when I got it too. But anyway, it never came stateside. It was just in Japan. And it was like at a time when people were like, hey, let's get some mature games on the Wii that people who enjoyed games before Wii Sports might like. But they never brought it stateside. And then the next thing Nintendo does with the Fatal Frame brand is they make, God, I don't even, Camera of Fate, I think.
No. It was called something really dumb in the U.S. It was called like Spirit Camera.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
It was called
Spirit Camera.
And like the Fatal Frame branding isn't even like on it.
Right.
But it was just some augmented reality game for the 3DS that had a couple of moments. But, you know, newsflash, the 3DS camera's garbage, guys. It's not good.
What? You don't like taking 3D images? Why do you hate freedom, Richard? Freedom and 3D.
It is like a half step above the Game Boy camera. I'm sorry, but it's just not very good. And like the game was just okay, except, you know, a boss fight is basically you standing in the middle of a room in your house,
Spinning.
just spinning around looking for a ghost. I wanted to like that game so much, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it's not. And they also, this is another one that didn't make it out to the U.S. They remade Fatal Frame 2.
Oh yeah.
And they decided to like, I swear to God, Nintendo makes some unusual choices. They like one of the big changes they made to Fatal Frame 2 was to make the characters older, so they could make them like sexier.
Ah! Oh, jeez. My character just fell down a
Oh
hole.
yeah, and they have like, of course they already had lots of crazy costumes.
Right.
I think they added some new ones for the Wii remakes.
So weird. So very weird.
And that did come to Europe though.
Did
But
it
never
really?
came out- yeah, it never came out to the U.S.
I am sincerely hoping, as Foben brought up, that they have announced a new Fatal Frame for Wii U. And I'm really hoping that comes here, and I'm really hoping that gyroscopic controls with the gamepad are optional. Like, please don't make me do all the combat by swinging my arms around with that gamepad.
I can't see where the guy is. Oh, we just exploded into a million pieces.
I think like the appeal there could be something like, you know, instead of like pulling a trigger to bring up your camera on the Wii U, you could just lift up the pad
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
use that as your camera lens. That would be cool.
That would be kind of cool. God,
But-
that mechanic is just so effectively terrifying.
You know, a game
Since
I really love that Richard, I know you really enjoyed too. That I'm
Mm-hmm.
sad we're never gonna get another one. Is Zombie U? That used the Wii
Yeah.
U in a really interesting way. I thought.
Well, you know, I mean, the Wii U is finally starting to get, and this is something we're probably going to address as Joystiq on the whole before too long, but it's starting to get a library that makes it a lot more appealing. You know, they're starting to get more good games. Like, I mean, God, Mario Kart is great. There's a lot of really good stuff for the Wii U. I think the problem that they have right now, that Nintendo has right now, is just the pacing of getting games on that thing is not great.
Yeah, and cost. Cost is still a factor. Like I'm sorry, but like $300 for that thing, even if it comes with a game, is still
Like next
hefty.
to a PS4 or an Xbox One, yeah.
Yeah,
Why would you go for that?
yeah. That's just too much. But man, like, and even like stuff that you can play on other machines, like Shovel Knight. I love playing Shovel Knight on that thing. That is.
Yeah.
It's killing me that people can't play Eternal Darkness on Wii U. Like, why isn't that a virtual console game? Like,
Well, you know, it's like Nintendo's whole virtual console strategy just drives me bonkers.
yeah.
Because, you know, however many Nintendo Directs it was ago when they announced DS games on the
Oh
Wii.
God, that's right.
I wanted to put my fist through the screen. It's like, what are you doing? Like, that's your announcement? It's finally you can play original DS games on your television? Meanwhile,
And then I was like, Richard, you know, you're at my house right now, and you just put your fist through my television screen.
God, so
like-
angry.
It's like I can't play Super Nintendo games on my 3DS yet. What are you doing? Why can't I have Super Metroid? Damn it! Like, it's the perfect platform for it.
Oh man, I'm just running through all these traps like a ninja. Oh. Right at the end, I was doing so well. Oh man, these zombie things are like fighting each other now. Man, this is the first zombie war. Just walked right into it.
Rammsteinrig says that Nintendo's first-party games are historically better than anything Sony has ever done. I disagree with that.
Whoa, I just got messed up.
And also, like, you know, like and I'll cop to this. I did this before. Like, if you're cool, like having like 5, 6, 7 incredible Nintendo games per generation, have fun.
Yeah.
Like that's why I bought a Nintendo 64, is so I could play Zelda. And I got my GameCube so I could play Smash Brothers and this when it came out.
Richard, have we discussed? Were you on the podcast when I explained my rule for a console purchase?
No, I don't think I was.
I came up with this way back when, and if there are 8 things that I cannot play on anything else, then it's worth getting.
So you never buy something at launch then?
Well, you know, now that I do this for a job, I get things at launch. But you know, back when, unless I knew that 8 things were coming, I would avoid a launch.
I wish I would have followed that on a couple of the consoles I've purchased over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the PlayStation 3 at launch in Canada was $700.
Oh.
So that was fun. And Richard might remember this, or actually, I think it wasn't Richard who did this with me. I think it was Dave when he was working with us. We did the PlayStation 3 launch game stream, and I remember trying to convince myself some of those games were great and that I didn't spend $700 in vain.
Genji rules, man.
Oh God.
God.
No form of giant enemy crab was going to fix that game.
It was like when the PS4 came out, and the people in the comments who were just trying so desperately to make themselves believe that Knack was a good game.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Like, you just don't understand.
Or when I reviewed Rise, I think I gave Rise like a 2, and people were like, this is the worst review ever written. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't like the game. I mean, it's pretty, but I don't really see the point.
Zav, I don't know if you agree with me on this, because you are, like, you play a fair number of shooters, and I don't play very many, and a lot of people disagree with me about this. I still, to this day, love the first Resistance. I love it. Like, Resistance Fall of Man was a game that, like, and I got it, you know, pretty late in 2007. Like, I didn't get a PS3 at launch, but I picked it up just because, and I ended up loving it. I love that game. It's just so good, like, meat and potatoes shooting.
Sorry, I got really distracted for a second because some weird dude just handed me a human heart or a monster heart, and then it absorbed into my character. I remember liking it. I remember being really excited for Resistance 2, thinking like they're gonna fix all the problems, and then Resistance 2 was terrible. Resistance 3 I didn't really play. Kind of got turned off after the second one. I heard that the third one's really good, but I didn't actually play it, I don't think. I had a lot of fun when we played Resistance during our stream, to be honest with you. We played it online. There were like 5 people still playing that game online. The servers are since turned off, but it's just so random. Like, these guys must have been like, what? What new people have discovered this amazing game? What is happening? And we played like I think we played for like 20 minutes online of just like playing Resistance. So yeah, I know. I mean, that was a pretty good game.
I think the thing you have to remember about Resistance is that it had those huge multiplayer matches at a time when online multiplayer, like easily accessible online multiplayer on a console, was still pretty fresh.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Resistance came out like around this. Didn't Resistance come out after like Gears of War was already out? It came out in November the year after.
No, same year. They were both 2006.
Yeah, but Gears of War came out in March, I think, and didn't.
No, it was September.
Oh, and then November was Resistance.
Yeah, so they were contemporary.
And there was Halo 2. I mean, like, for PlayStation, sure. I mean, the only real multiplayer game I remember playing on PlayStation 2 was SOCOM, and getting that to work was sort of a nightmare.
Oh God, wasn't there eventually there was SOCOM 4, but there was another one before that, right? A downloadable only? Am I getting that wrong?
Well, you might be thinking of Fireteam Bravo, but that was a PSP game. There were a lot of PSP games.
El Duke, Heavenly Sword was amazing. Heavenly Sword is a weird game.
I didn't like Heavenly Sword.
It's very weird. It's very weird.
Although I do like their
long or something.
Yeah, it's pretty short. I think it's pretty short. But what was the game that they did as a follow-up? I liked that game. Enslaved. I liked Enslaved.
Enslaved was like has so many good ideas, but I hate the characters. Just don't like Monkey and Trip.
Really?
Yeah, man, the ending of that game is so weird too. Like, I'm not gonna spoil that one for everyone. That's worth playing. I don't care for Enslaved, but I still give it a recommendation. If anybody wants to play a badass game by those guys, Ninja Theory, play DMC Devil May Cry because it's great.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. I still liked Enslaved better, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Enslaved. That was a game that I thought was almost better than the sum of its parts.
Oh yeah.
Because the platforming was super easy and handholdy, but it looked and felt good, and the combat was very one note. But I really enjoyed the story.
God, there's like 73. Oh God, their ball's about to explode.
Oh man, your sanity meter is almost to the bottom.
I know. I kind of want it to go all the way down. So
you want to get crazy?
Gosh, I just
all
want
right.
to see what's gonna happen.
Snipe Hockey just pointed out that they're making a Heavenly Sword movie, which is super weird that they're making that now. But wasn't there also going to be an Eternal Darkness movie at one point? Wasn't that?
There's got to be a movie for like every game.
Yeah, like there was always. But that was during the period when Nintendo. There was a moment when Nintendo was like, "We're gonna get into movies. We're gonna start making movies out of our franchises." And it was like at the tail end of the GameCube. Like,
after the success of the Mario Brothers film, we've decided.
Right. Well, I think they wanted to get into like computer animation, like what Sony is doing now, with Ratchet, Heavenly Sword, and all those actions.
Yeah, that's kind of weird to me. I mean, I don't have an affinity for the Ratchet franchise, so when I heard that there was a Ratchet movie, I thought that was a little strange. But hey, man, people seem to like that franchise. I feel like there's something I'm missing here. I just ran in a circle, I think. Did I run this way? Oh, wait, is this the door? I think I may have found it.
Or you're going nuts.
I think so. Well, there's this, like, weird thing. Wait, pan around? Ew, look at this giant blob of a... What was that thing? What's that thing in Jedi?
Oh, the Sarlacc?
Sarlacc?
Yeah, the
thing
Sarlacc.
that chews up Boba Fett. What's happening? Oh, it's like... Is it vomiting? What's happening right now? I don't know what's going on.
Is it vomiting? What's happened right now?
I don't know. It's
That's
just
the
it's
best.
very strange. It does not give me a lot of information. There's just like weird eyeballs everywhere. Guys, this game is weird.
Oh man, Cirrus 654, digging deep for the GameCube references. Metal Arms. Did you guys ever play that?
I remember Metal Arms. That
I
was
played like a
well,
demo for it on the Xbox.
It was like a shooter platformer with a cute little robot. It was
Yeah.
so good.
It was one of those games that is just, it's mechanically so well made that it was so much fun to play.
Yeah.
Do you guys have one game that you remember that you wanted to put on your list of top 10 games that you just could not because it was 2003 or 2002 or something?
Oh yeah, yeah. I had a couple of those. I mean, Silent Hill 2. I associate that with the past decade because I didn't play it until 2009 or 8 rather. But man, yeah, I wanted Silent Hill 2 on there really badly, and just I missed it by 3 years.
Eternal Darkness was one that I was like sort of relieved that it wasn't before 2004 because I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about this. It doesn't have to screw up the rest of my list.
Zab, what was yours?
Well, there was a game that I know me and Ernest talked a little bit about this at E3 on the original Xbox. That I don't know if anyone remembers. It was called Death Row.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that at E3.
It was
talking about E3.
like a death sport thing, right?
It was like Death Sport by Ubisoft. I think published it like so long ago. It was like back when Ubisoft had the old rainbow logo thing that they were rocking.
Yeah.
Oh man, this character is in a bad way. I like how they start walking around like they're messed up. If you
like the camera angle changes and
oh, is this all happening because of the sanity effect thing?
Yeah.
the way that the camera's all crooked.
Oh, I did not even realize that was. I just thought and blood is pouring from the ceilings. I thought that was something that was happening right now that I was missing.
That's
I didn't realize that she was
you're
getting
crazy.
all loony. I didn't realize she was getting all nutty.
A game that might go on my list. Technically, the director's cut came out in 2004 on Xbox, which is the one I played.
Technically, it doesn't count.
Fatal Frame 2. Frame
okay.
2. Which of all the ones I've played is still my favorite.
I'm only bringing this up because I know it'll make Alexander mad. But you know what else I wanted to get on my top 10? Binary Domain. Because
God.
awesome. So awesome.
Oh, I just
So
stabbed
good.
this soldier back. I just swiped this soldier that I saved with my sword by accident. That's probably not cool. Guys, what's going on? I keep walking through these traps. Oh, God. Oh, God. I kind of see, and there's no enemies left. I really wanted to see if there was an enemy around that I can try to lose all my sanity and see what happens. Because doesn't the game like pretend to turn itself off?
Yeah, it does.
In spots?
Well, I think that one is like what word? Like a curated one. Like it's scheduled to happen at a certain point in the game. I might be wrong about that though.
Whoa. Oh,
Like, I
something
think
something just happened because I tried to use one of those. I tried to use my health power up, and it reset me back to where I just was. And she's starting to scream that she has no idea what's happening. Things are getting
Wow,
weird.
we're gonna wrap this up pretty much right at.
Are you serious? It's already been an hour?
Yeah, it's already been an hour.
God.
Right when you go insane. That's perfect timing. That's like when we're all of our horror games this week are ending at perfect moments, because when we did Haunting Ground, we finally found the dog, which really that should have happened quicker. And yesterday,
you were looking for that damn dog
the whole time. Richard threw himself off a cliff for the Long Dark, which was a blast. Everybody, if you want, go into the archive here, and you can just click at the top of the Twitch page, or if you go to our YouTube page, you can check out the archives from this week. Mm-hmm. They're awesome. And you can see Richard just running for his life from wolves in the Long Dark. And now Zav has lost his mind here at the end of Eternal Darkness. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be back with day 4 of the Midsummer Terror Train tomorrow with a game called Road Not Taken, which you're probably, if you Google it, you're going to see these screenshots that look all cute and cartoony. But that is a game where children will horribly die if you don't take care of them. So, yeah, super spooky game. And we're going to have the developers of that with us as well, which is cool. Please, if you're enjoying this as well, follow us here on Twitch. There's a little button beneath the player that you can click to do that. And you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook and on Google+. Search for Joystiq with a Q.
I was going to say, someone was telling you to run behind the Sarlacc, but it looks like you're done.
Oh, I have to run behind it? Oh.
Yeah, so, Zav, thank you very much for diving in. Are you going to keep playing?
I am, now that I know where I'm going. Oh, here we go. Maybe we'll get a quick cutscene.
You know, we talked quite a bit about Fatal Frame during the stream. I wanted to mention that, assuming I don't have a child between now and Friday, we're planning to play Fatal Frame 4, the Wii game that I have the English translation patch for on my Wii, so we can actually play it in English, and you can all check it out.
Yeah, that will happen on Friday. And in the event that Richard does have a child, if he has successfully procreated,
I think that part's done.
Yeah, that part's done. If Richard's son is born and doesn't defeat him in single combat, we'll play.
He just turns into 300.
I think we're just in time to watch your character die.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that is good timing. I will not ask again, child. You know what my favorite part of today's stream is? I think I actually drove Alexander insane in real life.
So we're saying goodbye to everyone, right?
Yeah! Yeah. Goodbye,
Thanks for
everyone.
watching, guys.